Imagine getting on a plane, knowing that you've already watched two aircraft fall apart around you. Imagine surviving crashes so catastrophic that investigators declared them unsurvivable. This is the unbelievable true story of the man aviation historians call the Unkillable Survivor, Lieutenant Colonel Edward Murphy. Murphy wasn't a thrill seeker. He wasn't reckless. He was calm, disciplined, and trained during a time when military aircraft were fast, experimental, and dangerously unpredictable. Pilots trusted him. Commanders respected him. No one, absolutely no one, expected what would unfold over the next decade of his life. His first crash happened on a humid summer morning during what should have been a routine training flight. He was thousands of feet in the air when his aircraft suddenly lost engine power. Smoke filled the cockpit. The controls froze. The jet tilted forward sharply, and in just a few seconds, the sky became a blur. Most pilots in that situation would eject immediately. But Murphy noticed something. If he bailed out too early, the jet would plummet straight into a nearby town. Hundreds of innocent people could die. So instead of saving himself, he fought the failing aircraft with everything he had left, stabilizing it just enough to aim it away from the populated area. Only when the jet was seconds from impact did he finally pull the eject handle. He hit the ground hard, bruised and shaken, but alive. Investigators later said his reaction time and self-control prevented one of the worst aviation disasters in the region. Murphy simply called it doing my job, but fate wasn't done with him. A few years later, he was assigned to a bomber crew, a massive, multi-engine aircraft built for long-distance missions. Halfway through a routine flight, one engine failed, then another, then a third. A plane that big cannot stay airborne with multiple engine failures. The entire aircraft began shaking violently as the pilots attempted an emergency landing. It didn't work. The bomber slammed into open terrain and broke apart on impact. Most people on board were seriously injured or unconscious. Fuel leaked everywhere. Flames erupted. And in the middle of the chaos, Murphy, battered and bleeding, somehow managed to drag two unconscious crew members out of the burning wreckage before collapsing himself. He woke up in a hospital with investigators asking him the same question over and over. How are you still alive? Murphy didn't have an answer. He wasn't lucky, he insisted. He was simply trained. But then came the third crash, the one historians still call impossible. Murphy was flying in a military transport aircraft, carrying dozens of personnel, when a sudden storm formed out of nowhere. Powerful winds battered the aircraft, pushing it far off course. Lightning flashed. Visibility disappeared. Before anyone realized what was happening, the aircraft struck the side of a remote mountain. The impact was devastating. The nose tore off instantly. The wings shattered. The plane slid violently down the rocky slope before finally coming to a twisted stop. Many on board did not survive. Murphy should have been one of them. He was badly injured, fractures, internal damage, severe bleeding, yet somehow he remained conscious. With almost no strength left, he crawled out of the wreckage, inch by inch, in freezing darkness, over jagged, uneven terrain. He found a torn piece of fuselage for shelter and held on until rescue teams located him the next morning. 3 plane crashes, 3 disasters no one should have lived through. 3 times the odds said he wouldn't survive, and 3 times he did. After the third crash, the Air Force grounded him permanently. Doctors said surviving those impacts was medically improbable. Investigators described it as statistically impossible. His colleagues, the ones who watched him walk away from wreckage again and again, simply called him invincible. But Murphy didn't see himself that way. He wasn't proud of surviving. He was grateful. He knew he had been given chances most people never get. So instead of returning to the sky, he dedicated his remaining years to aviation safety, studying flight failures, designing new protocols, and helping create standards still used by the military today. He didn't just survive disasters. He helped prevent future ones. Murphy never called himself a hero, but pilots remember him as the man who faced death 3 times and refused to die. A man who kept getting up when the world said he shouldn't. A man who proved that sometimes resilience is stronger than fate itself. In a world where one plane crash is enough to change a life forever, he survived 3. Not because he was fearless, but because he never stopped fighting.